Okay. Hello everyone and welcome to Scholarship Tracks live Q&A session. Today we have Sai sir on board with us. He is a former software engineer at Microsoft and is currently working as a machine learning engineer at Google. Thank you sir for joining us today.
Hi, thanks for inviting me. Uh, yeah, let's get started.
Okay. So let me explain how will this go. In the first half, I'll be asking Sai so few of the very general questions like his preparations, his experiences, and other. And in the next half, you guys, like the audience, can ask him questions, which he'll take up. Okay, so let's get started.
Sounds good.
Okay, so how has your journey been from a VIT student to software engineer at Google?
Uh, yeah, uh, definitely great. I think not long ago I was a student. I just passed out in 2017, and I did my master's from University of Southern California right after my undergrad. So my undergrad was in computer science, and then I did my master's from University of Southern California in Los Angeles, California, where again it was in computer science. So my master's was a little bit focused on deep learning and computer vision. So if you've heard of those terms, and then getting into Google definitely was not an easy path, at least for me because I was not super smart to right away get into Google after college. So yeah, I got into Cisco. Initially worked at Cisco for an year on completely different stuff, not anything related to machine learning or data science that you're talking about here today. And then got a cold call from Microsoft asking me if I'm interested to get into machine learning. And then I worked on this cool product at Microsoft called HoloLens. It's a mixed reality headset. And then yeah, from there, I got a call from Google while I was working at Cisco itself, but I never interviewed for Google, assuming that I'm not smart enough to get into Google, or I was not confident in myself. I don't want to go and be dumb over there and then get rejected. So I did not even be in that state. So I said I said no to recruiter, and then I was working at Cisco. And then finally one day I thought, okay, I'll give it a shot. Uh, and then definitely it was not as hard as I thought. I mean, I would not say it was very easy, but definitely it was not very hard. And then I ended up at Google. I joined actually very recently, like last month, and currently I work on YouTube at Google.
Yeah, that's a great journey. Like many of us will inspire from that.
Yeah,
Okay. So the next question is, how will you explain machine learning in layman terms?
come on. I thought this was some Q&A session where again I think you started interviewing me, but okay, I'm not prepared for that. But yeah, I can tell you. I mean, in machine learning, different people have different definitions. These terms are often very confused. Artificial intelligence, machine learning, deep learning. They are like used in different contexts in different ways. Uh, the way that I define machine learning is nothing but it's just a subset of artificial intelligence, a particular field in artificial intelligence, and in simple terms, is nothing but trying to. What exactly is artificial intelligence? It's nothing but uh, trying to make the machine smart instead of like writing some code that the computer can just run. It can itself to learn. So we humans have this wonderful skill where we can adapt to different situations, and we don't have to be programmed, or we don't have to encounter each and every situation to behave differently in different situations. So we have this skill, and then machine learning is nothing but trying to trying to make these machines intelligent, trying not teaching the machine how to behave in each and every situation, and then uh, uh, writing program, and then are in different ways to make these machines to adapt to different situations.
Yeah. It's often confused with artificial intelligence these days, and students, especially freshies like me, are like so much amazed with this word, like artificial intelligence. Yes, we want to work on that. What is that?
I mean, definitely it's a very confusing term, even deep learning. So, deep learning, machine learning, artificial intelligence. So, I think if you have looked at any images on internet, usually artificial intelligence is a bigger umbrella where the machine learning is a subset of artificial intelligence, and then deep learning is even subset of machine learning. It is like it dives into very specific kind of things where you have neural networks where there are different type of neural networks, and I mean they are based around human brain, how neurons are connected in human brain. That's what like exactly what deep learning focuses on. And then machine learning has different set of algorithms, like different set of math algorithms, like logistic regression, decision trees, and all these kinds of things. And artificial intelligence is like a bigger umbrella where a lot of other things fall into the picture, like anything. Even like maybe in good old days, having some if else conditions were used to be called artificial intelligence back then. So again, data science. There's again different field called data science. So don't get too confused with the terms. And then I also see a lot of hype in the field. So a lot of people like I mean, not to uh, disappoint anyone or not to be arrogant here, but just I mean, most of the people don't know what exactly those are and just follow the hype, and they keep coming to me and ask different questions like, how do I? Uh, I mean, I want to be in data science field, but it doesn't make sense. What exactly? Why do you want to be in that? Like, what exactly you want to do? Because it's a very big field. There are many subfields in that. Like again, there's reinforcement learning. Everything is its own domain in its own. Like people do PhDs in each of those domains. So I picked especially computer vision. So computer vision doesn't used to not involve any machine learning and deep learning back in old days, like before 2012. But since 2012, computer vision is heavily relied on deep learning. And then whenever you say deep learning, since deep learning is a subset of machine learning comes into place whenever you're trying to solve a computer vision problem. So I don't know if that answers your question. If not, I mean, maybe you can
Yeah,
ask some follow-up question.
definitely it does. Okay. So my next question is like, how did you know that you can excel in machine learning? The more of which you answered right now, and not any other field. Like there are several fields, web development and AR, VR. So
So
how
I
did you
mean,
know that you want to work in machine learning? Yeah, continue.
so I mean, just speaking my heart here. I've not seen just for I mean for the audience or someone. I've not seen these questions before. I mean, so in my case, in my journey was like I mean the first time that I started machine learning was in 2015 when I was in my second third year of my undergrad. So it was not like we had some machine learning courses in my college. So I was just interested. Like there was the field was just booming, the data science field, and then I did not have any courses in my college. Maybe we had some big data course in college, but nothing like a real machine learning course or deep learning course. So I just went on online and just read some courses just to know, like, just to understand what the hype is, like, why so many people are using these buzzwords. Is there really something in that? So just like picked few courses online, like on Data Camp, on Coursera, did some courses and just tried to understand what exactly it is. So it was a bit interesting. I felt like okay, I mean, I got a bit interest in that, but I did not like too much focus on that. But during my undergrad final year project, uh, I worked on a final computer vision project that involved a lot of deep learning, and then so I think my main I keep telling this computer vision a lot. My what exactly for someone who don't know what is computer vision, it's nothing but trying to give vision to the computer. So we have these eyes, right? We can look at everything and we can make sense of, we can see different objects, we can make sense of how these different how are these different we have this visual perception of the world. So trying to have that giving that ability to the computers, to cameras, is like a simple kind of computer vision. Like the different examples are for computer vision field are like self-driving and AR, VR, and all those things. So
Mhm.
going back to your question, and then I think I slowly started falling in love with computer vision, which has a lot of deep learning and machine learning. So that's how my journey has been. So it was not like I chose to pursue only that path. Like even when I was doing masters, I tried hard getting into this field, but it was not so easy. So I just went for Cisco, and then I worked on completely networking. And then in Microsoft, I again, as you said, AR, VR. So I mean, it's not like every technology is very independent, right? So these computer science technologies are like sometimes coupled. So I worked on, as I told you, I worked on this product called HoloLens. It's actually VR, MR product, mixed reality. Mixed reality is nothing but a combination of AR, VR. So I was doing computer vision, I was doing AR, VR, I was doing machine learning, I was doing deep learning. So I was doing a bunch of technologies. It's not like I planned for it. So I mean, things just happened. I just went with the flow of where I wanted to be. It's not like I planned. Like I only wanted to be in ML. It's just one field, right? I mean, what I wanted to tell, especially the audience today, is that uh, uh, I mean, technologies always keep changing in computer science field. Today, you might feel that okay, machine learning is some buzzword. It looks cool, but I mean, at the core, right? It's basically everything is algorithms, and you have to write code. Being a computer science, if you're a computer science student, you have to write software. Even if you're into ML or if you're into whatever field it is, like I think be passionate about solving complex problems instead of like I mean, ML has a lot of complex problems now, but 5 years down the line, ML might become a commodity, and everybody knows that. Like it becomes like a basic course that everybody studies in college. Like recently, one of my professor reached out in VIT, and I see that like 80% of the students are studying ML. Like everybody knows ML, but when I studied, nobody knows ML. It was just like I just passed out in 2017. It's not very long ago. So yeah, I mean, that's my take on that. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Okay, so the next question is, how should one start with their journey in NML? And like, what are some good projects to begin with?
So I think there are ton of resources now. I mean, if you go online, there's like you can easily, like, if you just want to get started, I think there are a bunch of courses. Especially there's Andrew Ng. Many people would have heard Andrew Ng. So he's an ML professor at Stanford,
Mm,
and like one of the pioneers in machine learning. So if you are into machine learning for quite some time, you should definitely know him. Like Andrew Ng, and he has a course on Stanford. Sorry, course on Coursera on machine learning. So I think many people who are getting started into the field usually get started with that course to get. I mean, he's a very good professor who teaches the basic concepts. Like ML involves a lot of math. It's not using just some APIs. I mean, I don't know if people have some background experience. If you have, it's not using some bunch of APIs, some Python libraries, and then some scikit libraries and things done. So if you there involves a lot of math in ML. So you have to you don't have to be like know 100%. Like you don't have to sit down and write equations and prove some theorems, but it's about you have to understand definitely the underlying math to solve complex problems. So someone getting started in ML, so I would say first I mean, definitely doing side projects, and also, I mean, if you have some courses in your college, if you're students, you can like start with some courses in your college. If you like already graduated and you're working, then these courses like on Coursera. I mean, I'm telling you what helped me. It's not like standard recipe of how to get into that, but I'm just letting you know what I did. And also, there are a lot of ton of projects, right? If you have heard of this website called Kaggle, it's a very common, very famous
mm,
website where many data science challenges are hosted. So where you get a set of questions to solve, and then you'll be given a data set, and then there'll be a leaderboard, and then sometimes they even pay you if you win the challenges. So yeah, I think the way that you learn is like not by just attending some courses or watching some YouTube videos. You can even watch. There are usually, like, I mean, technology has grown. Like I work for YouTube, so maybe I'll promote YouTube too. So there are like ton of videos in YouTube. So I mean, you don't have to go somewhere. Like, I mean, if you just have access to laptop and internet, you can learn whatever you want. So that's the beauty of, I mean, the era that we are living in. So start with learning the basics, learning the basic algorithms, about what exactly is machine learning, and then what are different algorithms there, and then maybe pick a project on Kaggle or there. I think there are many other websites too that came in, but at least as far the famous one of the famous websites that I'm aware of is Kaggle, and then just keep solving. You don't have to win the challenge, but just like solve like what exactly is the problem, and then and having this on your resume, because not many people do that, and having this on your resume, especially if you are looking if you want to enter the ML field from some other field, or if you're like just a new grad just passed out from college, and if you're looking for your first job. So I think having these side projects on your resume definitely will help, because that will give you an edge or other students or other applicants who are competing with you for the same job. So I think that would be a great start. And then if you, focus also on internships, especially like I mean I don't know if some of the audience might be from India. Uh, uh, so especially in US, this internship culture, everybody does internships. Like I haven't seen any undergrad passing out without doing an internship. But in India, it's not very quite common. It's slowly picking up in the bigger universities. So I think the path to ML is also like if you can get an internship, if you can get one or two internships, like one is good and two is like awesome before you graduate. So that will set up your path to get into to enter the field, because internships are where not people have too many expectations. Even if you work for free, you don't need to get paid internships. Even if you like get some experience in that, that would be a good starting point for you to have on your resume. So uh, I think the internship that I did during my masters really helped me, though I was not able to immediately get that job, but that helped me to land into Microsoft. uh,
Okay, I'll add on like the today right now in our course we do have machine learning in India.
yeah, I think a lot of
In the
colleges.
course they have introduced machine learning.
Hmm.
Okay, but the thing is, we don't have enough internships. Like where to intern? You don't have enough internships in India, especially focusing on the machine learning part.
So I think again, this ML field is very interrelated. Data science. There are data science roles, there are ML roles, there are deep learning roles. So there are ML engineer roles. There are two kinds of roles again within that. There are scientist roles, there are engineer roles. So I totally understand that there are not many internships, but I think there are many when compared to 4 years ago. But still, I think maybe the number of students might have also grown. So I don't know where exactly the audience are from, but in the Bangalore, there are a lot of startups in Bangalore where pretty much today, right? Any company, like most companies, have to work in ML in some form or other if there's a software company. So I think for target on startups instead of like huge, be very big companies. If you can get into big companies, that's fine. But usually, they're like given the number of positions and number of applicants, it's a little tricky to get into big companies. And also referral program. There's usually a referral program if you know someone working in the company, and if you especially the big companies, right? The referral program works in the big companies like Microsoft, Google, and all. So if you can find someone, maybe if somebody wants a referral, maybe ping me. I can refer you at Google. Uh, uh, Referral program works. That's one of the ways. But for startups, I think there are many websites. I don't remember the websites names right now on top of my head, but I think there are websites where exactly the startups post the job listings. Maybe I can try to find that after this call and send it to you. So and also I think start applying early, a little bit early. Like don't wait till the end, because positions might
Hmm.
get hired earlier. So I think and also like use LinkedIn. So I don't know how often you all use LinkedIn. So if you want to find a job in particular company, just like search for that company and see who are the people working in that company. So not like everybody responds, because people have different takes on it, and then like I am usually very active on LinkedIn. I usually respond to most messages. So try to ping some people on that company that you wanted to work for, and then try to establish a connection instead of like directly sending, hey, I want a referral, because he doesn't know you or you doesn't know him or her. So just try to establish a connection. Say hi, hey, I'm trying to enter this field, and then like yeah, I mean, if you can guide me, it would be great. And then like slowly ask for a referral, and then some people like I mean, not everybody responds, so don't you should not take it personally. So but like if someone you don't need 100 jobs, right? You have to spend time and you have to ping 100 people. But even if 5 to 10 people respond, that's like great conversion. And then like ask for a referral, and then like if you can get it in, it's fine. You don't need to worry that okay, I don't have any relatives or cousins or friends working for that company. Like use the social media, use LinkedIn. It's a very powerful platform because I mean, how I got into Microsoft is through LinkedIn. So I just had a profile. Some recruiter like randomly pinged me when I was working for Cisco on LinkedIn, and that's how I interviewed. I never applied for. I mean, I applied for Microsoft when I was in college, but I never got call. I always got rejected. But when I was working for Cisco, I did not apply for Microsoft again. But that's how I got called. So LinkedIn is a great platform. So I think use that to form connections and then meet people and then ask them for referral.
Yeah, that definitely tells how important LinkedIn is.
Definitely, I think it played a great role in my thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So the next question is like, how did you prepare for technical interviews? Any tips?
So uh, tips are nothing, but again, I'm not too much aware of what exactly is the background of the audience. But if you again depends on what role you're aiming for. If you're aiming for a software engineer, software developer roles, the most that you want to focus on is algorithms, data structures, and coding. So you have to do the hacker rank, and there are a ton of websites that you might all be aware of, the Geeks for Geeks and Code Chef, all these kinds of things, wherever you can find coding problems to solve. Coding is not something that you can like by heart and then go and write. Maybe in college for exam it might work. Maybe if you get some same questions, but in interview you always get a new question. It's most of the time, or sometimes you might get the question that you have seen. So you have to be very strong in data structures and algorithms. Even for ML roles, at least I mean I haven't worked in India in unit, so I'm not completely sure how the interviews happen in India because I did not interview too much in India. But at least the interview process is same if you're for the, like if you're targeting the bigger companies. Like at least I can talk for the companies that I worked for, Microsoft and Google. Interview process is the same whether in United States or in India. So if you're focusing on software engineers, software developer roles, data structures, algorithms, ML roles also need data structures and algorithms. If you're targeting ML engineer, so there are again ML engineer and ML scientist. So if you're targeting for any engineer roles, whether it is ML engineer, software engineer, deep learning engineer, data structures and algorithms are going to be asked. And if it is software engineer, all the rounds are of data structures and algorithms, like coding. They'll give you a coding question to solve, and you have to write code for that. But for ML engineer, like if there will usually be 4 to 5 rounds of interviews. So 3 rounds of interviews will be of data structures coding, and 2 rounds or 1 to 2 rounds, 3 to 4 rounds of coding, and 1 to 2 rounds of ML. So based on if you're focusing on ML, so I for Microsoft, my area was computer vision plus deep learning, so I had a computer vision plus deep learning round. But if it is ML, you'll have an ML round, and if it is, but data science roles are a bit different. If you're focusing on data science roles, not ML and DL, and then scientist roles. So those are quite different. Those don't focus very heavily on data structures and algorithms. You still need them, but not to a level where you need for these other kinds of roles. So how to prepare for interviews? Just practice. The more coding is always, the more you practice, the better you get it. So there's no there's no hard formula for that. I mean, everybody who ended up in any of the tech big companies have to be really strong in coding. Without coding, you can't like I mean, you can't get into them. At least that's what I have seen. So practice a lot. Initially, it'll be tough. So initially, I mean, at least it was tough for me. So I can talk for myself. So, but don't give up. Definitely, the end of the journey will be much rewarding. So, yeah, I think for ML, you can like again, the way to learn coding is by practicing more problems on lead code, code chef, and all those things. And for ML, the way to learn ML is like doing side projects, and then like reading blogs. I mean, I usually read some blogs, and then I also watch some YouTube videos if I don't understand some concept, because these days you can pretty much find a video on YouTube for everything. So and then yeah, I mean that's pretty much it. Just I mean uh, yeah, I think that's what I did. Maybe if you have any better ideas, maybe you can tell me too.
No. Okay. So the next question is like, are there many opportunities for people in the development field?
Maybe I have to clarify this question a bit. So what exactly you mean by development field?
Like in the development, like again that AR, VR, machine learning, any development field. So like people should focus more on coding or more on development. That's the major issue these days with the college students.
So okay, I'll tell you again. Again, none of you please don't quote me on that. I'm just talking about my experiences and my take on it. Different people might have different takes. So at least so do, don't ever focus on a my very strong suggestion is that it's good to have passion on a technology, but if you're too focused on a technology, it might become hard for you to switch jobs or to switch careers. So I mean, if you look at, right, like I mean, when I was working at Microsoft, like let's pick one example like AR VR. So AR VR was there from 1970s, but nobody knew it till very recently. Like if you look at my manager, right? So in Microsoft, let's say my manager was working at Microsoft for 25 years. So when he started studying, or when he he was he joined Microsoft, or when he was working at Microsoft for a long time, he was not aware of AR VR. Many people. So you have to be constantly learning in this field, in computer science field. It's not that technology just keeps changing, right? But he's a manager of AR VR team, which I was part of. So the thing is that the big companies does not the in Google or in Microsoft anywhere, right? Even the programming language, they never focus on a technology. They never focus on, okay, you have to know C language, or you have to know C++, or you have to know Java. They don't care. You have to write code, whatever language, pick it yourself. All they're worried about is like what is your ability to learn new technologies, like how fast you can learn, how fast you can understand. So the beauty of data structures and coding is that the logic, how you come up with the logic, how you use the data structures, that's the key thing, because those are the concepts that can be transferred from one language to other. So when you talk about opportunities, right? So opportunities are definitely there. There are a lot of opportunities. Again, in United States, I'm not too familiar with how the opportunities have been in India, for having not worked in there. uh, and yeah, I think my very strong suggestion here is like, don't focus too much on it's good have passion for some field, and like start doing more, building your career in that field. But the people that I have seen grow in their careers, especially like if you look at long term, becoming growing higher to higher positions in the company, and then like things like that, they all have this mentality of trying to constantly learn and adapt to the situations. It's not that the people sitting there, the vice presidents, the managers, and then directors who are there, they don't like, the deep learning was not there when they all started. Even if it was there, it was not as famous, like nobody knew it. So backpropagation algorithm was written in 1980s or sometime long ago, but no, it was not as famous as it is today, because of the limited compute available there. So there are opportunities in every field. So the number of opportunities are in machine learning are exponentially increasing, but there will be a saturation point, like every technology, right? Even when big data came in 2010, it was like Hadoop and all those were booming, but after 5 years they all saturated. So even machine learning might become saturated, because more and more people, it's becoming like a commodity resource, right? It's not like a specialized skill anymore. Like more and more people start studying it, like as like it becomes part of like I don't know, it might already be part of curriculum now in India. It's like machine learning will become some standard course that everybody will do. So then the market will become saturated, and then like so it becomes like everybody knows that you're not any special anymore. The way for you to be special is that to have the skill to adapt, and then uh, uh, so definitely be for if you're like if you want to be an engineer, you have to be very strong in all the engineering concepts. So yeah, I think that's my take on it. Definitely, there are again going back. There are opportunities in all the fields. AR VR field, especially, it's starting to grow now because it's a new field. I think machine learning field is like now the opportunities have already exploded, and then now it's like I think it will slowly saturate in a few years, in the upcoming few years.
Okay. So the next question is like, what are some projects you get to work in the industry? What are some amazing projects?
What are the projects that I worked on?
Yeah, in the industry, like in YouTube, what are the projects you get to work on?
So in YouTube, I'm part of search and suggest team. So if you go to YouTube, you see the search box, and when you type something, there's a drop down list telling you what you might be typing. So that's what my team does. So I joined Google very recently, like a month ago. I joined on Jan 25th. So today is what, February 28th, something.
28.
So it's just been a month. Uh, uh, Definitely, I think YouTube has ton of challenges, especially with scale. So they are like billions of users. It has like I can't tell you the exact number, but it has more than 1 billion users. So and if you can look at the scale at which, and then we have to stream all those videos in quick second. Like when you're typing, right? We have to understand that query in millisecond latency. Like immediately the drop down list comes. When you
Yes.
change for every key you keep typing, the drop down list changes. So and that is also personalized. It's not the same drop down list for everyone. We use ML there.
Oh,
We use a lot of ML there to personalize that list based on your history and all. So yeah, I mean it's definitely fun because I mean there are a lot of problems that come with scale, and then you have to personalize it for each one of these billion users. Like you can imagine, and then you have to have millisecond latency. You cannot have. I mean, I can talk a bit in ML terms, but I don't want to use too much of those buzzwords here. But if anybody of you know ML, little bit of ML, so if you train a big model, so usually the problem with these machine learning models is that usually any deep learning model, machine learning model, they're very big. And then the inference time is nothing but given an input to get the output is usually very big. It's not like it's not even it sometimes it takes few seconds. So but we can't afford that. If you are talking about millisecond latency, the millisecond latency is the query should the request should go from your laptop to some Google data center, and then it should come back. Everything should happen in milliseconds. So yeah, I think the model has to be very simple. It can't be very complex, and then the latency plays a key role here. So I'm very excited. Haven't been a long time in the company, so can't talk too much on projects. But I'm just got assigned a project. I'm working on that, and usually we also don't announce the features ahead of time, what features are going to come, because that's a company policy. They keep it confidential for whatever reasons. So yeah, I think it's going to be exciting role. At least
okay.
I'm
So
excited.
would you like to tell something about like your role in Microsoft? Like you worked on HoloLens, I guess.
Sure, sure.
Yeah.
That's a tricky question too. In Microsoft, I can only talk about what's already in the market. I
Okay.
was working on something that is not yet released. I don't know when they'll release it. So it's very. I mean, I was very. I think I was very excited while I was working at Microsoft. Like I don't know if you have tried of Hololens. Or it's a headset. It's a mixed reality headset. It's a very cool headset. If you get a chance, you try it. When you wear that, actually, you can see the real world and you can see the holograms. You can interact with holograms. The thing that I was working on was like eye tracking. So eye tracking is nothing but when you wear the device, right? You might be looking at different. So you keep your eyeball moving, and you might be looking at different objects, different points in space. So what my team does is that it'll try to figure out where exactly you are looking at in the real world. The reason for that is like when you want to display holograms. Again, sorry for using a lot of terminology here. Hologram is nothing but some 3D object that you overlay onto the real world, into the world that you see in your field of view. And then we have to know where you are looking at, and HoloLens does not have any external controllers. Usually, if you have played any with VR controllers like Oculus or something, something. You usually have some controllers in your hand. You wear the headset, you have some controllers, and you connect it to your computer. I mean, very recently wireless headsets too came, and then all your input is through the controllers that you hold in your hand. But in HoloLens, it's a wireless device. You don't have any external controllers. How you interact with this is through hands. Let's say you have some hologram placed in your field of view. You want to touch that, you want to grab that. Everything is with hands. And then you have different things in in your field of view. So we have to know to be very precise in interactions and to make sure the display is great. We have to know where your eye is looking at, and then that's what my team does. So we have some couple of cameras in HoloLens looking at your eye. So I was working on. So earlier we were using all computer vision techniques, the old no machine learning. Not we had very less machine learning, and then when I joined the team, I was like specifically hired to use computer vision algorithms like object detection, image classification, image segmentation to modernize the pipeline to make the algorithms much better. And yeah, that's what I was working on at Microsoft.
Oh, that was amazing. Okay, so let's take up the comments in the chat box.
Sure.
Okay. So Ram Charan is asking, can you describe a daily day at Google now, Microsoft earlier as an ML software engineer?
Cool. That's a great question. I think describing a day, I mean, we just have to write code. Being an engineer, anytime you see engineer in the title, whether it is software engineer, ML engineer, DP, whatever engineer has to write code. If you are like, I mean, not electrical engineer. Don't tell me that civil engineers and mechanical engineers don't write code. When I say engineer, anything related to computer science has to write code. So most of our day is spent writing code, and then sometime we also like 70% of the time I would say would be writing code, and then rest of the time would be attending meetings and then talking about design. So how we have to design it. You have to architect, right? Like I was talking about this latency, and then where do you have to place this code, where does this code should go into, like adding this code, how much latency does it add, like what are all the dependencies that this code has. Like let's say sometimes uh, YouTube suggest actually works closely with Google suggest too. Google also has this search box, right? Like, I mean, just to give you a simple example of what my team is. So we have to work very closely with the Google search team. The YouTube search works very closely with the Google search because both are looks very similar, but YouTube is for video context and Google is for like broader web search. So we work with them, we have meetings with them, sync up with them, and we if we have any ideas, we tell them. If they have any ideas, they tell us, so that we'll see like if any of them works. And then especially in machine learning, we have to do a lot of experiments, A/B testing. If you have heard of A/B testing, that's how we implement features and get it into production. So yeah, a lot of design discussions, and then apart from that, most of the time is code. Unless if you're a manager, I'm I'm just an engineer early in career, so that's what most of my time is spent on, be it Microsoft or Google, pretty much any company. I think that's pretty much how your day will look like.
Okay. So the next question again, Ram is asking, what's the difference between the work of an ML engineer and software engineer? ML.
That's a tricky question, which I myself never understood because uh, I don't think there's not any difference. It's just the way that companies call it. So uh, there is no machine learning engineer role at all at Microsoft. They call it software engineer machine learning. And even in Google, I haven't seen anybody with title called machine learning engineer. They call it software engineer machine learning. So I think it's the same, whether it is software engineer machine learning or machine learning engineer. But I think some companies call it machine learning engineer. But basically, what exactly is expected of that role is that you have to maybe if I have to guess, this is what I'm guessing, but I haven't seen anyone at Microsoft and Google having the title as machine learning engineer. Some people put the title as machine learning engineer on LinkedIn, but internally that's not their title. I mean, if I look at it, my directory, that's not their title. They can put whatever they want on LinkedIn, right? So my guess is that machine learning engineer does a little less of coding and a little more of algorithm work of doing hyperparameter tuning and other algorithms. And software engineering machine learning is like more into coding and a little bit less into ML. That's what my guess is if I had to guess. But both of them require a mix of skills, both software engineering skills, which are nothing but data structures, algorithms, coding, and then ML skills, which are nothing but uh, again ML has like a very broad range of fields inside that, like computer vision, deep learning, natural language processing, all those kinds of things. So ML skills, knowing the ML algorithms, knowing how to set up the problem, how to experiment, all these things. So it's a you need a combination of skills for both of them.
Okay.
Does that answer this question? I mean, I'm not sure if you can talk, but yeah. If not, maybe you can ask a follow-up question.
Again, he's asking, can you also describe your interview experience, all rounds that you had, both at Google and Microsoft for SWML? How important do you think DS algo is for ML engineer role?
I think I already pointed out this in one of the questions
Yeah.
that Shankala asked before. So I mean, again, okay, at Google, I had one phone screen. So how it works is like we usually have one phone screen where they call you over phone, and then maybe
Hmm.
they'll have a video call, and then you have to they'll share a coder pad or some notepad where they'll have a question and you have to write code for that. After that, you'll have an on-site. On-site is nothing but where you go to the company, like physically, and then there'll be usually 5 rounds. I had 5 rounds both at Microsoft and at Google. So at Google, I had 2 rounds of data structures, algorithms, and coding. 1 round of basic ML, all basic ML concepts, ML problems. 1 round of computer vision, and one behavioral round. So it's 5 rounds. So two coding, data structures, algorithms, one ML basic, one computer vision, and one behavioral. They call it googliness round. So and at Microsoft, I had 5 rounds too. At Microsoft, I had 4 rounds of data structures, algorithms, and coding, and one very lengthy round. This round was for 1.5 hours of computer vision, deep learning, and machine learning. So uh, I mean, as you can see, there's a good amount of good number of rounds for data structures and algorithms. So you definitely need them. How important? So to answer the part of your question, how important are they? So they are really important. They have like 50 to 60% of weightage. Sometimes, like in Microsoft, I had 4 rounds, so that's 80% of weightage. 4 by 5 is 80%. So yeah, uh, that's what I mean. I hope that answers your question. So I mean, coding questions pretty much focus. If you go and type in Google, like just in Google search bar, if you type Microsoft interview questions, you can see the questions on Geeks for Geeks of what kind of questions they ask for coding. So that's pretty much you can find on internet. So most of the time you get asked new questions. It's not like the same questions they ask. They always keep changing questions so that somebody don't by heart them and just get them. So the chance of for you getting the question if you study some 10 Microsoft important questions and if you go, the chance of you getting that question is close to 0% is what I think.
Hmm. The next question is also done. Also, how do you think your masters at USC has helped in getting a roles at Cisco, Microsoft, and Google?
So I think USC played a very big role in getting a job at Cisco. So the first job, so your university slash college plays a very big role in getting your first job. But after that, I think it is up to you. It depends on your skills and how smart, how talented are you, and where you can get. So I think the reason for me to I mean, I did not, I got placed before I graduated, like 4 to 5 months before. And then the way that I got called is because USC has a great reputation. USC has very great alumni. And then it has it has very good reputation in California and also in Silicon Valley. So pretty much, if you say USC, everybody knows USC. Like you might even, I usually like when I joined Cisco, my team was of 30 people, and then there were like 6 people from USC, just USC. Uh, so that like I usually find USC people everywhere just because the number of people. the USC intake is very high. So every year, more than 1,000 people graduate with a master's degree in CS. Whether it is in like, again, there are many specializations in CS, data science, networks, and all. But in if you take computer science as a whole, I think around 1,000 or a little more than 1,000 people graduate with a degree in computer science. That's very big, right? Like if you look at across years, USC has been for many years. So there are ton of people in the valley who got master's degree from USC in computer science. So you'll find them everywhere. And then I mean, everybody has this feeling, right, towards their college. I mean, if somebody ping me on LinkedIn, if they say VIT, I feel a little happy because I went to the same school, and I feel like okay, I feel like I have to help. I mean, I try helping as much as I can. So uh, uh, yeah, I think USC definitely, because of the reputation, it's little easy to get calls. Having said that, that doesn't mean that you'll get the job. You'll get the interview call, but you have to clear that like as anybody. So you have, but sometimes getting interview calls is tough. So uh, I think it helped. But coming to Microsoft and Google, I think Google does not care. I don't know about too much about Microsoft if they care too much about the university, but Google for sure will not care because in my team people are from different backgrounds. Like in my team, there's a soft who is working as a software engineer with a degree in mechanical engineering. Like she studied mechanical engineering and now she's working. She actually did a PhD in mechanical engineering and now she's working as a software engineer with me. So, and then there are people from different backgrounds. It's not like they only study computer science. So Google does not care as soon as you have the right skills. If they feel that if you pass the interview, like interview, they she had the same set of rounds as I had. So if you pass the interview, they're good. They don't care what's your GPA or what you studied. You can even study civil engineering or you can study law and then you come clear the interview, you're good. So yeah, I think Microsoft and USC just got calls. I don't know how much university played a role there. I'm not thinking it played too much of a big role because I've seen many people from very wide universities which were not in top 100. So yeah, but I strongly feel that for the first job, your university matters.
Oh, okay. So the last few minutes, if anybody else has any question, and someone from India says great session.
Thank you, whoever it is. I don't know their name, but yeah, it just says from India. That's what I see.
Okay, anybody else has any questions, they can post in the comment box, and we will then end the session. Okay, so I guess that is all. Thank you so for joining us today. It was having great having a lovely session with you.
No problem at all. Thank you for inviting me. I'm not sure if I'm big enough to talk on all these topics. So, but, thanks for inviting me. And then, yeah, if you this is not the only time that you can talk to me. I'm usually, again, as I said, I'm very active on LinkedIn. If you have any questions or if you feel shy today to talk, or if you want to chat more, if you're stuck somewhere, feel free to ping on LinkedIn. I usually
Yeah,
respond very quick. If not, I mean, yeah, find my name on LinkedIn and send me a
I'll
connection
add your
request.
link to your LinkedIn in the description box.
Yeah, sure. Find me on LinkedIn and ping me. You can ask me. Feel free to don't stress yourself too much about if you're not getting calls. And just remember one thing: like even after doing a master's in United States and even after doing an internship during my master's at at a company, I still was not able to get land my first job in ML. So that's not the end. So I still ended up now. Like it's just 2 years, right? So I passed my master's from December 2018. So 2 years down the line, I'm working in one of the big companies in ML field. So don't get demotivated. At least my path was tough. It was not so easy to get calls. So if you are in the similar boat, please don't give up, and for sure you'll find a way at the end. And then yeah, if you even if you're not able to get a first job in data science, that's fine. Just take whatever you get, and then like try hard getting into data science. If you get for your first job into data science, that's great. If not, try getting into that. If you are able to get it, that's cool. If not, just remember me in back of my head because there are many people. I mean, not only me. You don't need to take only me as an example. If you know someone who were able to, yeah, just remember that there are many people like me who are able to still end up just by not giving up and then pursuing the field. So yeah, don't be hard on yourself. Yeah, those would be my final comments. And shoot me a message, or yeah, yeah, even if you want to chat, we can set up. I mean, on LinkedIn, we can talk and we can set up a call if you want to chat
Thank
with
you.
me.
Thank you everyone for joining us today.
Thank you.